Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
You are most welcome to PENDREAM TV, the only channel that brings you the best and latest updates in politics. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for more updates, like and also share to other members to watch as well. You can also leave a comment after watching or send us a voice note on our WhatsApp number, which is 0277 128 777. Thank you. Today we bring you information about the Galamsey, which the MPP MPs are suggesting during Mahama's time. They also did it, and they did it more than them. They even came with a table ranking the NDC to be the best on top of the league, which a former MPP member, lawyer Danquah, has also come out saying, when it comes to this kind of matters, they should not bring Mahama in, because Mahama has really fought Galamsey during his time. The people eliminated him because of one or two things, not based on Galamsey. Rather, they should ask Nana-Addo what he did to fight the Galamsey, because he even promised to go out of government. He really placed his government online to fight the Galamsey, but rather his people are doing it. That means he is also aware, because the powers lie in his hand. If he set example by sacking one MP for doing that, the rest will stop, but he didn't do that, which means he is also part of it. For that matter, the lawyer said to him they should not even mention Mahama or bring Mahama in anything, and he was shocked seeing the MPP MPs in parliament mentioning names and things, which he think it should not be the right thing, because they voted JM out because of one or two things, which they promised to come and deal with it, rather found them doing it. Please, I want you to leave your suggestion at the comment section after watching, or send us a voice note on what you think is the best. If you agree, please, you can leave a comment. If you do not agree, please don't come with any insults on the channel. Please, this is from insult. Thank you. I would like you to join me listening to him now without much wasting time. Thank you. Be right back.
Good morning as always, and thank you very much for choosing Pan-African Television. We are live from the Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah studios, and we're bringing you the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. We are also live on Radio Gold 90.5 FM, your power station. We are live on many other affiliate radio stations across the country. If you are listening to us on one of them, do make sure to be an active part of this show. You can send a text message or a WhatsApp message through our WhatsApp or text message number. Kindly be a part of the show. I'm Senna Nombo, and today we are having a discussion on the resurgence of Galamsey. In many forms: community mining, small scale mining. Then of course there is the illegal part, where you can actively on the Accra-Kumasi highway see people digging right by the side of the road in search of gold. We are talking about this also because this week, in fact, the weekend, in the lead up to this week, there was a statement issued by the Central Regional Ghana Water Company Limited. Their problem was simple. Right now, the machines we have cannot process the water that's coming out of the river bodies we depend on, because the turbidity levels are quite high, which means the water is too polluted for their machines to actually process. The chief manager told us on Monday that they are way beyond the level. In fact, it will take them a whole day to process water. The whole day. They have to put the water through the system for the whole day to do that. Questions are being asked about what happened to the fresh fight when Samuel Abu Jinapor came into office. The fight against irresponsible mining that destroys our environment and our water bodies. Their response is NDC. They say the NDC has gone around encouraging people to do Galamsey. That's why the NDC is doing it. And one of the men who had the fingered is in the studio with us this morning. Because this video has been making the rounds. They use it as a justification for the reason Galamsey is ongoing, even though it has been pointed out to them that you have the power. You have the power to act. Why are you not acting? We'll also be discussing the resurgence of Galamsey and the effects on river bodies and the entire environment. And of course, the general impacts, because even the education is being affected. Well, then we'll discuss the voters register. Yesterday, the NDC made a call for a forensic audit of the register. They indicated that the UNDP is ready to help. All they want is for the Electoral Commission to agree. The EC says no. There will be no forensic audit, even though they suspended their Pusiga head. Why? Because transfers had been done there without the consent of the voters involved. The voters are in Sanyarugu and Tamale South, but their votes are in Pusiga. And they have no idea that their votes are in Pusiga. That has happened to many voters. The NEC says the only way to resolve that is to do a forensic audit of the register. The EC says no. The NEC says we won't stop pushing for that. So we'll talk about the voters register and matters arising. And to conclude, are we on the verge of selling Saglami housing project? After many years of condemnation and criticism, among others, this week, the president has given his authorization, cabinet, authorization to move to hand over the project to a private developer. Well, so those are the issues we'll be discussing this morning. And of course, as always, be a big part of that discussion. We are live on Facebook, Pan-African Television. We are also live on YouTube, Pan-African Television. Well, joining me in the studio to discuss the issues today, always a pleasure seeing Lawyer in the Morning. Lawyer Appiah Danquah is a member of the Movement for Change, Alliance for Revolutionary Change. He joins us this morning. It's been a while since I saw you.
Yeah.
I hope you're well.
Good morning to you. Yeah, you know, usually I don't, Pan-African, in terms of my media engagement, your station is my priority. So if I don't come, then means that there's something I can't help it. I wasn't well for a while. Okay. In fact, I was hit by a very terrible bout of COVID.
Oh.
Yeah. So really? So that's the reason for my having been absent on your station for a while. But I'm back. I'm back ready to fire and fight for the salvation of our country.
And this morning, I was thank you, Lawyer. And I'll start with you, actually. I was talking about one of the men whose videos have been making the rounds. He had to do some adjustment to his schedule to join us in studio this morning to be part of this discussion. Dr. Tony Obing is a manifesto spokesperson for the National Democratic Congress on specifically the area we are discussing today. He's a man who knows mining quite well, and he joins us in the studio. Doc, good morning.
Thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers. I watch Pan-African, but it's the first time I've been on the set, and it's really a privilege to be on this particular program, a program that has been previously, and not previously, in fact, we have legends like Kwesi Pratt being part, Professor Adona Hammond in the past being part, not the big wakes who have pioneered this Alaji and I'm so happy to be here.
Great. Nice to see you, Doc.
Thanks.
And of course, Adjo, always a pleasure seeing you. I hope you're well.
Yes, I am doing well. I'm doing well.
Dr. Percy, who is a student of history and politics, will join us to complete the panel. Well, let's start the discussion off from the issue of Galamsey and matters arising. Like I said, I'll start from my right with Lawyer Appiah Danquah. Take his thoughts on the issue.
Yeah, so once again, let me wish your viewers a good morning. Wish my co-panelists a good morning. Hopefully we can together discuss the issue, not on a partisan basis, but as in with Ghana being a sole consideration. See, I think this issue about Galamsey, the recent issues concerning Galamsey, really borders on the impact of Galamsey, because as in last week we all heard what the Ghana Water Company said about their struggles in purifying the water for our consumption. For me, when I analyze the issue, I want to look at it beyond just Galamsey. as a Galamsey simpliciter. I think the issue borders on what can befall us, or what really is the essence of government. Because over the last 1 month, we've had certain reports that really jolts this issue to the fore. I think it's been about a month or two when the Afro-barometer report came out, and then said that increasingly we are losing confidence in the system of governance. Also, I think Ghana, for a country whose economy has largely been built on cocoa, because when we talk about cocoa, we talk about Ghana. There have been reports that our cocoa productivity is really shrinking to the extent that Ghana, the home of premium cocoa, struggling to raise financing from outside to purchase cocoa. Personally, I've never seen the sense in we going to procure a facility in foreign currency to buy cocoa in CD. However, the fact that there was always a clamor by finance houses to plug into our cocoa powers by way of granting us financing gave us comfort, because then it told us about the confidence the world had in Ghana's cocoa industry. Now that support is being pulled, as in we are struggling to raise financing. And then just a week we hear that right now Ghana Water Company is also struggling to purify the waters for us to use. And it brings in sharp focus the essence of governance, of government. And in all these issues, for me, I wouldn't want to look anywhere. I want to focus squarely on the president and what this represents as to his ability to fulfill his obligations under our Constitution 1 and the oath he himself took. For me, the starting point would have to be the social contract. Yes, I know people who are scholars who say that the whole idea of, or the whole concept of philosophy of social contract as in predates the 80s. As I mentioned Epicurean, you mentioned Plato, Socrates and all, they were discussing social contract as a philosophy, as a political philosophy a long time ago. But we all agree that discussions on social contract, or the proper place to start any discussion on social contract, has to do with Thomas Hobbes' writings in the Levantine, where he discussed about the state of man. The fact that man in his natural state is in a state of war. Everybody is fighting everybody. And that the state of man in his natural state is very brutish. It is archaic, short, nasty area, you understand? And that in that state, because we are all free people and because nobody has authority over everybody, then what will characterize that state is rape, plunder, murder, or actions which we all call anarchy. That's akin to anarchy. You understand? Now, it is to prevent this anarchy, this negative state of man, why we formed governments in the first place. Because then we understand that the reason why we form government from the idea of the social contract is that every single person will cede a bit of their rights. All of us, we cede a bit of our rights to central government. One, for what purpose? To create the social structures, to create the economic structures, to create the political structures that will ensure that our rights that were not given to them by, not that were not given to us by anybody, that were not given to us by any law, rights that were actually given to us by nature itself, by God. Those rights will be protected because of the ability of the body, the authority we've ceded our powers to create the right social structures, the right political structures, the right economic structures, where our rights will be protected, and to where we can have the best opportunity of pursuing our individual happiness. Now, you also agree that because we are biological beings and human beings are homeopathic, now what that means is that we need the right environmental system to survive. Now, when nature itself have created a lot of balances that will aid us to survive biologically, and so you need a water system. You need, as they say, what you breathe out carbon and you breathe in what? Oxygen. You understand? And in that circle of life, you need that ecological balance. But the land and the forest, which will grant us the same ecological balance, are also the same places that houses the resources that can give us the best chance of fulfilling our happiness, finding livelihoods. And that's the premise for the whole concept of sustainable development. So I mean that in how you develop, in how you pursue your economic agenda, it must be done within the context of sustainable development. How do you best tap your natural resources for economic gain without necessarily disturbing the ecological balance? Now, this tax is part of the reason why we entered into a social contract, because we understand that no one of us individually can create that system where we use our resources for economic gain without affecting and impacting the ecological balance. Indeed, one of the biggest rights we ceded per a 1992 constitution was a right that says that even though we all know, we understand that when it comes to land, when you want to define what land is not, it goes beyond just what is on the surface. But land includes your right over everything that goes all the way to hell, for want of a better word, and all the way to heaven. When it comes to minerals in its natural state, because of the calamity that can befall all of us if we allow people to mine unregulated, then the best way of protecting all of our interests in keeping the ecological balance in place, we need to create a trust. We need to create a regime where even though you own the land, if there's any mineral in it, it won't be for you. Because that's the only way we can keep that ecological balance, which can impact all of our lives. So in the social contract we signed with our government, we said, listen, we are going to see it as a bit of our individual rights. We are going to allow you to tax us. We are going to allow you to take a bit of our income, our revenue. We are going to give you the right to even take away our right to our freedom if we should infringe on certain laws. We are going to give you the power to create laws to regulate our lives, regulate how we do business, regulate how we live. But also, we are going to give you the right to have legal title over our mineral resources, even though the lands are not for you. Except to say that you are going to hold them in trust, and you are going to hold them in trust for and on behalf of every single person who is a Ghanaian. That was the contract we signed with our government. You understand? And so it's with the government, but we know that the human beings that constitute that government can change. So in 2016, when we went to vote on 7th December, we signed a contract. We signed a contract with the President of Ghana, with government, including the parliamentarians. And you see, I've had the opportunity of speaking about Galamsey, and never have I included the parliamentarians, but we don't go to add the parliamentarians, because they're also part of government, and they have a role to play. So we signed a contract with them. So per the terms of that contract, a trust has been created in him, in the president specifically, and what we expect, that the president is going to respect and obey and fulfill the duties that expressly, impliedly, are placed on him as a result of that trust. Casually, we know that when a trust is created on you, you automatically have a fiduciary duty placed on you. That fiduciary duty simply means that in how you use your legal interest regarding the trust property, your sole consideration will be to use those rights in the best and ultimate interest of the beneficiaries, the people of Ghana. And two, when a trust has been created in you, it is your obligation to protect that trust property, to ensure that it is not stolen. It is your obligation. You understand? So those are some of the key obligations placed on the president. But the law didn't end there. The law then taxed Parliament. That yes, I've created a trust in your president as part of the social contract any government will have with its citizens. Create structures, institutions, create laws that will create structures and institutions that will aid the president, in how he dispenses with his obligations under the terms of those trusts. And that's the history of the creation of the Minerals Commission. Not just the Minerals Commission. I told you that at the end of the day, when you're mining, you need to mine in a manner which is sustainable. Because sustainable development has been a huge issue for more than a generation, in fact, for always. But the world has recognized that, and so when they went to all those conferences, and they said Ghana took over 600 people, went to agree on the SDG Compact, all the 17. It was all to govern how we use our resources in a manner that will not impact the ecological balance. Because immediately you impact the ecological balance, immediately you touch the water cycle. What about climate change issues in Ghana? That's why because of climate change, we are on the brink of starvation in Ghana. That's how serious the issues are. Okay. So Parliament also created Forestry Commission. You understand? Because we also recognize that to keep that ecological balance, then you need to always have some forest which is reserved to protect some of the cycles, the biological cycles that are critical in sustaining and in maintaining the ecological balance, which is necessary to preserve our very existence. And then we had the EPA. So when you're talking about mining, the business of mining, it's not just about the president has a legal title, but these are the institutions that we have been created to aid in the dispensation of his duties under the trust. Also, we understand that we need to mine, because we need to and do so sustainably. And so the president, in dispensing with his obligation as the legal title of all mineral resources here, uses the process of concession. So they give concessions. When the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources gives concession, we need to understand that the minister is only using the powers of the president. Because the ministers are agents of the president. We didn't give executive powers to any minister. We gave executive powers to the president. But the law we allow, you see, president, we have given power that you can call people, ask people to help you, serve as your agents. Now, what that means is that there's also an obligation that if any person, if your agent is using the powers you have given you in a manner which is adverse to the purpose and object of those powers, there is your responsibility to call that minister to order, indeed to sack the minister. We need to understand that. You get the picture. Now we also need to understand that in the system we created, the people of Ghana we created, to aid us in just fulfilling the terms of the social contract we signed with government. We said, listen, we won't put all the governmental powers into one body, because that will be inimical to the purpose for which we even undertook that social contract. So we are going to create in Parliament and give them powers to serve as an oversight over the executive. And so when they are giving concessions, Parliament must approve also. Is that the case? So we give Parliament powers. Now I'm saying all this so that we can then analyze and appropriate rightly blame. But we also need to understand that it's very critical that in that social contract, in the contract, as the people we give our powers to government, government loses the legitimacy to continue using the powers we give them. Immediately they start using those powers in a manner that is adverse to the purpose for which we give those powers to them. We need to understand that. Because in the social contract, we do not give powers to government because they are the most handsome, because they are the most strongest, because they are the tallest. Because if we wanted to give governmental powers to the tallest, then Anadu will be far away from those powers. But even though he's one of the shortest men in Ghana, we gave him those powers for a purpose, so that you use those powers to build the right social structures, you build the right political structures, you build the right environmental structures, you build the right economic structures, so that we'll have the best opportunity, one, of our rights being protected, of our rights to pursue our own happiness being guaranteed. Now, Galamsey has been with us for a very long time. granted. We've seen successive governments fight Galamsey to their best of abilities. We saw President Akufo how he fought Galamsey. We saw Professor Mills how he fought Galamsey. In 2013, we all witnessed the war John Mahama waged against Galamsey. In 2016, Ghanaians collectively said, listen, not just Galamsey, but in how John Mahama, you've handled all issues concerning governance. We don't think we would want to renew our contract with you. So emphatically, for the first time in the history of this country, we gave John Mahama 44%. He said, no, this the job of creating those structures that can fulfill the terms of the contract we signed with government. You cannot handle it, so please take a rest. So for me, if you're talking about Galamsey and its negative impact in 2024, Mahama's name shouldn't even come in. Unless if he's coming, then means if Mahama's name will come in, then you are going to look at what he says he'll do to fight Galamsey in case he becomes president again in 2025. But if you're talking about Galamsey now, then the only person we should consider is the person we've granted our powers to from 2017 till now. He's the only person we should consider. So how has Nana-Addo fought Galamsey? Especially when he came in and was saying all the beautiful things. I'm going to put my presidency on the line. So the president came. The first thing he did was to sidestep the structures the constitution felt needed to be created to aid you, the president, in the fight against illegal mining. He said, we all need to understand, sometimes we seem to confuse things. Galamsey is not the same as small-scale mining. We need to understand that. Galamsey is not the same as small-scale mining. Galamsey is simply any mining which is done outside of authority. Now, when I say outside of authority, see, even the license, sometimes we have so many kinds of licenses. We have the exploration license, we have different licenses. We have some licenses which just gives you power to go and determine whether or not indeed you have minerals in commercial quantities there. So if you use the license that you have been granted in a manner outside the scope of that license, then you've committed illegal mining. You've mined illegally. You understand? And I think, I'm sure my brother here will better explain things, himself being in the mining sector. In fact, even if you use practices which are not agreeable to mine, you've committed illegal mining. So let's understand, because small-scale mining in itself is not bad at all. Indeed, any government that is serious, that wants to aid in alleviating poverty and creating livelihoods, needs to find a way of supporting people in the business of small-scale mining to mine and mine well. Yeah, you understand? But we're talking about Galamsey here. Now, when Nana-Addo came, he said he was going to fight against the act of people stealing government. Because when you do Galamsey, he said what they are doing is you are stealing the property of Ghana, one. And in the manner in which you are stealing the property of Ghana, you're also destroying that ecological balance that we are all talking about. Also, the obligation on the president, because of, I'm talking about the same environment and the need for us to preserve the environmental integrity of this country, to give us the best chance of surviving, because we are biological beings. Is to ensure that the forest that is reserved, the forest that we say is reserved, you do not allow people to enter and disturb the balance there, to disturb the ecological balance there. And Nana-Addo came, he said all the right things. Strangely, he did not, clearly when he came, he knew. Because when you read Prof. Frimpong-Boaten's report, one of the key things he says that the institutions that we created to aid the president to dispense with the trust we created in him were not strong. The Minerals Commission were not strong for whatever reasons. So I would think that when you have the chance of being president, you find ways of strengthening the institutions whose duty it is to regulate mining. Okay. So you strengthen the Minerals Commission, strengthen the Forestry Commission, you strengthen the EPA. When the president came, his approach was to create a parallel institution. I think Mahama also made the same mistake, the interministerial committee thing. You understand? So he created a parallel institution, claimed to be fighting Galamsey anyway. Prof. Frimpong-Boaten's report is saying that in 2018, the president, having recognized the importance of safeguarding our forest reserves from being entered and mined, gave clear instructions to his minister. Minister, stop issuing any mining licenses for any mining activities in the forest reserves. The minister flouted those orders. Gave licenses for people to go and mine in the forest reserves. What did the president do? Indeed, the report claims that the head of the Forestry Commission, one of the bodies, because it's a balancing act, the mineral people, they are mining, but because I'm talking about sustainable development, you need a Forestry Commission to also regulate how they can mine and mine sustainably. Same with the EP, regulate how you can minimize the impact of the mining on the environmental integrity. But they're all complicit. They're all complicit. And most critically, the report is saying that people in the president's party were engaged in mining, the politicians themselves. The people, the system we created for that we need to give political powers to create systems that will best protect our collective interests. They were engaged in mining. And the person we gave our executive powers to create the right structures, enforce the laws. The president slept. He slept. The report was granted him. I've heard MPP communicators say that indeed it was Prof. Mpoaten's personal report. And so, because it was Prof. Mpoaten's personal report, and you, the person who in whom a trust has been created in you, the Commander-in-Chief of Ghana Armed Forces, you, the person who's supposed to have the first-hand information as to everything happening in the length and breadth of Ghana, who's supposed to know that the water bodies were turning brown, who was supposed to know that the water bodies were mercury-laden, cyanide-laden, arsenic-laden. He ought to have those information. Where the report had been given you, a report that said that, listen, we are losing the fight against Galamsey because the people who are actually doing the Galamsey are from your party. I know the report said that the people from the NDC also. Simply to say the other Ghanaians also involved in Galamsey. But I can bet you, if you, the president, use the executive power to stop your party apparatchiks, if you sack your MPs and ministers you hear are doing Galamsey, 80% of the war against Galamsey will be won. Immediately, he sent a loud signal. But the president slept. He didn't do anything. The president simply, when he was called to fulfill his obligations under the social contract he signed with the people of Ghana, he turned his head left. He turned his head left. He refused to respect his obligations under the terms of the contract we signed with him. Okay, so the president, what did our representatives in parliament do? Indeed, my heart was broken when I heard a leader in parliament calling for a debate. A debate not to discuss how they can use the powers they have to enhance and create the right political culture that can sustain the democracy we have. Not a debate on how they can cause the process that will lead to a restoration of the economic credibility in this country, because we've lost economic credibility. Not a debate on how to cause a restoration of political credibility. Not a debate on how to cause a restoration of our dying environment. But he is calling for a debate to determine between the MPP MPs and the NDC MPs, between these two parties, which of them have supervised the destruction of our environment. The most.
Call it a race to the bottom.
That's what a leader in parliament is asking. And for me, as a citizen, as a party to that social contract we signed, question I ask myself, do they still have that legitimacy? having blatantly reneged on their obligation under the terms of those social contracts. The president on 7th January 2017 and in 2021 took an oath that was simply stating.
And please, you have to land on that note for me.
An oath that was simply stating that he was going to respect the terms of his social contract. He said he was going to be faithful to Ghana. The president said that he was going to be faithful to his obligations under the terms of the social contract he undertook with us. The president said he was going to be faithful to the terms of the trust he took. The president said he was going to be faithful in keeping the environmental integrity of this country. The president took an oath that he was going to dedicate himself to the well-being of every single person in Ghana. Mr. President, are you fulfilling those terms? Insofar as your citizens, people of Ghana, have to deal with drinking cyanide, mercury, lead-laden water at the peril of their life, are you fulfilling the terms of your obligation to dedicate yourself to the well-being of Ghana when the land, the source of the livelihood of your people, have been disseminated? President, are you fulfilling the terms of your oath? Are you fulfilling the terms of your oath when the integrity of the environment is being affected? When today you are telling us that you are begging Ghanaians, you are begging Parliament to dip your hands into a contingency fund because we are on the brink of food insecurity, which you say have been caused because of climate change. But you have climate change when you enter into a forest reserve, when you allow people to enter into a forest reserve, people from the party. I understand some Pines company and some MPP people, they have been granted permission to enter into a forest reserve to mine until 2053. Mr. President, have you fulfilled the terms of your obligation? So that will end. In that same oath, the president said that should he breach any of the terms of the oath he took, then he's going to submit, he's going to subjugate himself to the laws of this country and suffer pain as a result of that. Senna, I want to use this your platform. I think it is evidently clear that the president has breached the terms of the social contract he signed with us. By so doing, he's lost every legitimacy to continue using the powers we give him. The president also, by the terms of his own oath, has evidently been unfaithful to Ghana. He has evidently failed to dedicate himself to the well-being of the people of Ghana in this Galamsey menace. So why is he not submitting himself? Why is Mr. President not submitting himself to the laws of this country and suffer pain as a result of that? I'll call on him. Akufo-Addo, President of Ghana, submit yourself to the laws of this country and suffer pain. Resign. Resign and cause a resurrection of the integrity of political leadership. Because we need it. Now, to end, we are going to sign another social contract come 2024. Certainly, the issues concerning mining and Galamsey will be at the fore. Honorable Alan John Kojo is putting himself up. He's saying that in the matter of Galamsey and in the matter of mining, sustainable mining, one, he's simply going to enforce the law. Two, he's going to give institutional support to people who are into small-scale mining. Because like I said, we should not create a situation where we give the price if mining is bad. Mining is not bad. If mining is done in a regulated manner, if mining is done sustainably, the mining has the potential to cause a transformation of the lives of the people who live in those areas. And all we need is right leadership. Leadership that will simply enforce the law. Leadership that will support people, Ghanaians, in small-scale mining. Because small-scale mining is just for Ghanaians. So we can't kill them. Support Ghanaians in small-scale mining and grant leadership that will lead to a fulfillment of your terms, your obligations under the social contract we signed. And that is simply what Alan John Kojo intends to do. Let us give our voice to him and let Alan Chamantin give us a leadership that will restore the confidence the people of Ghana have in the ability of politics to transform their lives. Thank you.
Thank you for laying a very good foundation. Lawyer Appiah Danquah is a member of the Movement for Change, laying the foundation of the ground framework within which our politics works when it comes to the matter of mining. Luckily for us,
Thank you for watching. PENDREAM TV really appreciate your time. Please, we want you on the channel. We want you to be the first handler of the news that will drop on the channel, or any comment or any content that will land on the channel. Please, you should be the first to hear it. Please do share to all contact list on your phone or on your WhatsApp group for everybody to have a feel of what is happening around the globe or in the political arena. We need your suggestion anyway to support our channel. Do leave a comment after watching. Thank you.
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.